Hi there. Happy Saturday evening. It is a little bit after 7:40. I'm right here. I cut my head off though because I'm going to do like a color with me, listen to me chat video from the coloring book that I got. I think I got it for like in an Easter basket from a coworker a long time ago. It's called Birds, Blooms, and Butterflies. It looks like that. And I got some colored pencils. I am going to do some more on that. I started it a while ago, and I had wanted to maybe talk about just life as a very late diagnosed autistic. I'm gonna put my reading glasses on. They're dirty. I was diagnosed, well, I have several diagnoses, but I was diagnosed with autism I was probably 48 years old. I don't remember the exact date. And I'm 50 now. So it's been a few years. It makes a lot of sense to me. I've always felt like I was kind of on the outside looking in. I don't want to start with that color. What color do I want to start with? Let's do a dark blue. I always felt like I was kind of auditing, like watching people, but never really connecting. And when sensory input got a little bit too much, I would be really detached and really almost disassociated. I can remember being like that even as a small child. I can also remember in grade school a lot of my recesses I spent by myself. There was one school year, every recess, the whole entire school year, I would go to the swings by myself and do nothing but quietly swing all by myself the entire recess. I did have one teacher who tried to get me engaged in doing other things, but nobody thought that that was an odd behavior, I guess. It went completely unnoticed, completely undiagnosed. I always had learning difficulties. I had to go to tutoring more than once. I once was in grade school where I think it was just a classmate's mother who was going to school to be a teacher. She did some tutoring on campus. I don't remember that it helped me at all, because looking back, my issue was I got overwhelmed with sensory input, and this is just tea. It's gotten cold, but it's still good. I was overwhelmed with sensory input, and I needed more time to process. And I also needed like a quieter environment for testing and for reading. I didn't ever read social cues very well. And the last time I had tutoring was, I think I was in high school or junior high. And it was through someplace called Sullivan Learning Center. And I think my parents had to pay for that because I remember them saying something about it. And they were upset about it because they didn't really have the money. I don't remember it helping me with my grades at all. I think it was supposed to be geared towards a test that you're supposed to take in junior high or high school. you don't really remember that. I remember being so exhausted that I would forget basic language sometimes, but nobody picked up on it. None of the adults around me. They just picked up on that my grades weren't where they were supposed to be. And of course, that had to be because I had bad priorities or because I was being lazy. It could not have been anything else. And it was all my fault. I remember feeling physically exhausted all the time, which I don't think is normal for a child. I remember being jealous that things like learning seem to come naturally for some people. I don't remember what they did at Sylvan Learning Center to try to help me learn. I don't remember if it really helped at all. I know that it seems I remember there was a specific test that I was supposed to be preparing for, and I don't feel like I did very well on it. I don't remember though. But again, that was seen as a behavior and not as a lack of ability or a need to be taught different. Anyways, somehow I graduated. And I did go to community college for a while for social work. And I was working almost 40 hours in retail, both at Kmart and at a place called Ladies Designer Outlet, which was a Spiegel, a ladies' clothing store outlet. And I did well with working that many hours and attending college for a while. But it required that I masked a lot, and I didn't even know what that was back then because I wasn't diagnosed until my late 40s. So I did not wind up finishing college, and I eventually just quit that job. I can remember it was, I worked in the deli cafeteria, actually, of Kmart. I remember there were Kmart subs. I think, it seems I remember, and this was in like 94 to 95 or 95 to 96. So I'm Gen X. And I remember them, you had the sub bun, the thinnest shavings of lettuce and onion and pickle and I think they were pickled jalapenos, the yellow green rings, and I think it was really thin sliced chopped ham, bologna, and the kind of salami that had the little black pepper rings in it. I have colored outside of the line on that leaf. Don't ask me why I'm doing the leaf in 2 different colors. I just felt like it. It doesn't look like a leaf in nature, but you know what? It's not a leaf in nature. It's on a piece of paper. Anyways, those were really, really popular. Those sandwiches. I think they came with a mustard packet or something too. Oh, you see my leaf that doesn't look very realistic at all. I also remember having I think I worked the breakfast shift a lot. And I remember on the weekends, I'm running out of storage. Okay. I am back. I am sorry. I had to delete a few things from my phone. Anyways, I was talking about working at Kmart before I was in college the first time, before I knew I was autistic. I also remember, okay, good, we're recording. The camera's in a little different spot, but that's okay. I also remember the Kmart cafeteria having a breakfast special that was, I swear it must have been like $2.99. And it had 2 eggs cooked any way you like. I think a piece of ham and some toast and some butter and jelly and a coffee. I can remember this was in like a strip mall. And there was a furniture store in that strip mall. I remember, I think it was the owner of the furniture store used to come down and get this breakfast sometimes. And he used to always yell at me because I didn't know how to baste eggs. I didn't even know what that was because my people don't eat basted eggs. And anyways, basted eggs, I guess, are eggs just cooked on a skillet and covered in grease. Anyways, he hated me. I don't know why. I guess I couldn't make eggs like his mommy for like $3 a plate or $2 something a plate. It wasn't that much money. They had cheap food. Do I want to color the stock green or brown? I suppose it doesn't really matter. I remember a lot of times having to work by myself there because they wanted to have the fully operating cafeteria, but they didn't actually want to pay people to work there. I think I made minimum wage. I don't remember a lot about college. I just remember feeling very tired and very overwhelmed. I now know maybe I should not have tried to work while going to college, but I still don't think I could have finished college because I needed more time to process and I needed a quiet area. and every place was always very, very noisy. So I didn't finish college. That was the first time I went to college. I went back several years later to a different college to take some kind of medical coding or something like that. I don't like where that camera is, but whatever. I'm shooting on a potato. It's my phone. I didn't wind up finishing that either because of fatigue mostly and overwhelm. I now know that a lot of what I was experiencing was autistic burnout, but I didn't know I was autistic then, and I didn't know, we didn't really have that kind of the language for that. So again, it was just me being bad or unmotivated or lazy. Or being a quitter. But it certainly wasn't autism, and it wasn't that my brain processed things differently, and it wasn't that the sensory input was too much for me, and it wasn't that I needed to learn how to take time off. My forehead is itchy. It's like an autoimmune. It's a type of arthritis. My doctor thinks. I haven't actually gone for the blood test to confirm it. I don't know what color I want to make this beak. I've had several jobs. The longest I usually keep any job is probably about 4 years. I'm coloring the beak all one color, even though it's probably not supposed to be. It's not because I don't want to work. I actually really like a lot of things about working. One, I need money for survival. And two, there's a lot of social aspects I get from work. Oh, I like that blue for the bird's eye for work that I don't get really anywhere else, because I have a very difficult time making friends, maintaining relationships. It takes a lot out of me. That is actually more difficult than coloring outside the lines again. I hate it when I do that. That is actually more difficult than working, maintaining relationships. As I get older, I'm understanding that it's important, but it takes a lot out of me, and I don't really necessarily get a lot in return all the time. So that's something that I always struggle with, and I think I always have. But what will happen commonly is I will work very hard, put quite a lot towards my job, even though some of them are jobs that like actually physically hurt me, because I worked as a home health care aide for a while, and you have to like physically transfer people, and there's no RJO or anything like that. So I want to color something else blue. I'll do this down here. I know I'm coloring all over the place, but it's my picture, so I can do that. And what will happen is I'll basically do too much and get autistic burnout. And I now know what that is, but it feels very terrible and very scary when you don't know that's a thing and you don't have the vocabulary for it. You don't understand why you're tired to the point that it hurts and nothing restores you, and I would lose vocabulary. I would not be able to process basic concepts, and I would want to do nothing but sleep. Sensory input would cause me to almost disassociate. I don't have a better word for it. And so you don't know what that is or why it's happening. So you just feel bad. Anyways, that would often occur, and I would either wind up taking too much time off from work and getting let go because of that, or I would just quit, or I would do something in burnout that was dumb or wasn't something I was supposed to do, and I would wind up getting laid off or let go or just written off the schedule. So I was hearing somebody online somewhere basically the premise of what they were saying was, if you're late diagnosed, you were able to mask and get along well enough that the diagnosis doesn't matter. Basically, autism light is what they were referring to it as, which I'm not going to compare the different levels of autism. I'm not a clinician, but what being undiagnosed till you're in your late 40s looks like is being of the age where most people have kids and grandkids, and I struggle to maintain basic relationships even with like my neighbors. Most people I know would have something saved for retirement. I don't. Most people I know my age have a home or a trailer that if it's not paid off, it's partially paid off and it's in their name. And I rent, it's about a 600 square foot apartment. And I struggle to keep up with that. And if I somehow am not able to keep up with that, I don't have a backup plan, really. That's what being late diagnosed or undiagnosed autism looks like. I'm just recently have basically been shut in for several months, just basically going to check the mail, and I would usually wait till late in the evening or the afternoon to do that, to try to avoid people in my apartment complex, because I couldn't remember how to have a basic conversation, and the weather overwhelmed me, which as I'm saying that, it sounds stupid, but it's a thing. I'm trying to pull myself out of that because I went through most of my savings, a little bit of savings that I had during that period of time. So now I need to get back to work. And that's proving more difficult than it needs to be. Eventually I'll find something, but it's kind of looking like it'll be something that I really shouldn't do physically anymore because I also have a type of arthritis that attacks my spine and has a nerve in my neck that is basically permanently pinched because of the inflammation between the discs, vertebrae, I guess they're called, in my back. And that won't change. And well, it won't change for the better. It'll change. It'll get worse. I am kind of hoping for and looking for a desk job. I've applied to a few remote working situations. I have a second interview with one next week. I need to color something in red. I am looking forward to that. I'm a little bit nervous about it because it's over Microsoft Teams, which I've never ever used before. But I've been told it's not anything to be intimidated about. I have also done onboarding and been accepted to a work from home situation that trains AI. But after spending over an hour doing the onboarding and taking some skills tests, I've been told 3 days in a row now that there aren't any tasks for me to complete. So basically there's no work. So I suppose that's a door slammed in my face. I am going to try again tomorrow morning. I'm told sometimes earlier in the morning is easier to be assigned tasks through that. I don't know. Maybe that door being shut in my face is not a bad thing because I have ethical issues with AI and possibly training AI. But I'm looking at it as a survival thing. Because I literally just had to cash in rebate points with where I get order my groceries from. They have what they call perks that you can use for money off your grocery bill. I just had to cash some in so I could buy a big thing of toilet paper, which feels really pathetic at 50 that I'm having to do that. My hair is bothering me. I'm sorry. I know people don't like it when you mess with your hair sometimes. I need to put it back up here in a little bit. So that doesn't feel great. So I'm kind of looking at the temporary AI job as like a survival mechanism to get some cash flowing my way until something better comes along. But it doesn't even look like I'm going to be able to do that, which is sad and pathetic. And I am not physically able to do home health care aid and direct care that I used to do because it required lifting and bending and transferring of people. And because of the arthritis, I am just not able to safely do that anymore. It wouldn't be safe for me, and it wouldn't be safe for the patient or client. So that's where I'm at with that. I had thought about, well, I've applied to a few retail establishments. Those I don't think I would be able to do for an extended period of time, simply because of all the sensory input, and the having to mask so hard to deal with people. I used to be very good at that. It sounds weird. You'd think as you got older, you'd get better. But I don't think people who are non-autistic people, I don't think they understand just how much energy masking takes away from you. And I just don't have it anymore, especially with my arthritis diagnosis says I have more than one type, caused me quite a lot of fatigue and pain. I am on a PRN for the type that is in my spine, but that's it. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I know as much of as I've applied to, eventually something will open up. It just is taking much longer than I thought. And I'm sure my age doesn't help, you know. I'm 50 and it's not old, but it's not young. And to learn something new would be difficult. And for an employer to teach me something new would probably be, you know, some people wouldn't want to. Some employers, because it's just quite an investment. And it takes me a little while to learn. Anyways, and I am really trying to find something that doesn't require me to work 40 hours, because I have figured out that long work days are kind of a cause of my burnout, and so I need to give myself more downtime to be able to not be burnt out and to be able to be a good employee and to be able to take care of myself. Like, it doesn't do me any good to work and make a bunch of money just to come home and the only thing I can do is stare at a wall and try not to cry. I'm currently receiving some help from a job coach. I did find the place that I'm going to interview next week through her, through the job coach. So I'm hopeful there. I mean, that's not all bad. But like, I compare myself to the people that I went to high school with and people that are my age, and they have a lot more. They have a lot more, not only money and property, but they also have more human connections and kids and spouses and grandkids and stuff. And I was never able to achieve that. So that's not great. And it is a major buzzkill when I think about it. anyways, I don't think I'm gonna finish this. This is like probably gonna be a half hour long. That's what I got so far. I'm probably gonna keep coloring on it for a while. And I hope everybody has an awesome weekend. I'm gonna try to get this uploaded tonight. It's Saturday night. If you guys are interested in more color with me videos or more talking on being a late diagnosed autistic or being a Gen Xer or even working in the Kmart cafeteria, although a lot of that I don't remember. So, oh, it's telling me I'm out of storage. Wonderful. Okay, bye for now.